Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Don't forget, every night, 7 p.m. on Ticket TV, PST, Heated Boxing Talks. Heated Boxing Talks, August 25th. Backpack giveaway, free haircuts for the kids in the community, Inglewood, California, September 28th. 100 black men. Community give back just before Errol Spence fights Shawn Porter, which leads me to the topic of conversation as it relates to this fight. Let's go inside the numbers, man. There's a lot of opinions. There's a lot of naysayers talking back. I'm going to break it down on both sides. But I believe Shawn Porter, I watched an interview. God damn, I forgot who it was, but I want to give him credit, but I forgot what it was. But I heard Shawn Porter basically say that he's going to outwork him. He's never seen anyone as athletic as him, strong as him, and I would agree. Errol Spence has never seen an opponent who is Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter is a great athlete, good to great boxer, and a guy who has a will and is very determined, right? But I wanted to delve into the numbers because I'm watching all these fights, and I done watched them 100 times, like for real, over and over again. And Shawn says he wants to outwork Errol Spence to get the victory. One of the ways that he plans on outwork him, he said in an interview, is to work and to throw an absorbent amount of punches and threes and flurries and twos and threes and fours. You understand what I'm saying? And I wanted to delve into the numbers. And I have Porter Ugas. Total punches thrown and total punches landed. All right. Total punches for Porter was 144 out of 515. Am I right? Yeah. 144 out of 515, which is a 28% clip, right? I'll put it in, I'm going to talk out of order, but I'll put it in order for you guys. And then Danny Garcia versus Porter, 180 out of 742 at a 24% clip, 24% connect rate. So he has a 24% connect rate and a 28% connect rate, right? So if you margin that off 26%, he's going to land on average 1 out of 4 of his punches, no matter his work rate. Total punches and Ugas is 515 and Danny Garcia is 742. 742, right? And the reason why that's important is because he claims that he wants to outwork him. Now, if you look into that, if you look at the fights, Shawn Porter may absolutely throw more punches, but because his connect rate is so low, which means that his technique is not where it should be. I've explained this to Shawn 1,000 times over. As it relates to his right hand, I tried to explain it to him, but he moves too much. I'm gonna break it down. He moves too much to sit on his right hand, to practice sitting on his right hand, to throw the left hook. When he gets in close contact, he smothers his work, which allows his punches to go off and not necessarily connect where he really, really wants them to connect. So with that being said, Errol Spence, literally, all he has to do is shell up. He doesn't even have to counter Shawn Porter, because if he's only going to land 1 out of 4 punches, and he's not going to throw 4 punches at a time, obviously, in theory, based off of his percentages, Errol Spence doesn't even have to counter Shawn Porter. All he has to do is catch and parry and then get off, because Errol Spence landed 48% of his power punches. I'll put all this. And Spence Garcia, he landed, let me look at it right now so you guys can see it. total punches, he was 34%, but his power punches, he landed at a 48% clip. All right, and and Errol Spence used his jab for distance, right? So a lot of times when a fighter throws a jab, it's very misleading. It's probably in a low percentile, but it's just to gauge the distance, right? And or to keep a distance. It's a range finder, as they call it. So even for Shawn Porter and Errol Spence, it's a range finder for both of them. Shawn uses the double jab to keep his distance because he's a smaller fighter, so he can't throw one jab against Errol Spence. If he throws one jab at a time, it's going to be a short fight. Earl will absorb that single jab, get inside, rough him up, counter him. Actually, it won't even be a counter; it'll just be a lead. And Errol Spence is, I think, on the PBC side. I haven't watched Terrence Crawford intently like I've watched these guys over the last 2 months. He can throw every punch as accurate as anybody. He throws the best in terms of technique and in terms of form. He throws the best punches that I've seen on the PBC side. You know, I think Shawn Porter's double jab is a lot more explosive than Errol Spence jab. But at the end of the day, I think I'm being dead ass. His pinpoint accuracy isn't there. Shawn Porter's pinpoint accuracy isn't there, and he's not good at gauging distance because his accuracy is off. He's 26% clip on average if we put the two fights together. So when in doubt, Errol Spence can just catch, get off, get off, catch, get off, get off. Because even on Shawn Porter's best day, he may land 1.5 punches better, 0.5% punches better. And I think if they plan on outworking Errol Spence with their hands, it's not going to work to their advantage because I have an idea what Errol Spence will and can do just based off of what I've seen in the workouts. I'll never disclose that, but I'm only going to talk about what happened on fight night between the two fighters. Even on Shawn Porter, I won't disclose what I know what Shawn Porter the wrinkles that they're going to throw in the game plan because I know Shawn Porter and I know how Kenny thinks. So, but I'm not going to divulge that. But what I will say is his volume of punches won't have any value, won't mean anything against a Errol Spence. And you say why? Because both fights was a split decision, this win against Danny Garcia and Ugas. And if Errol Spence is half the person that we think he is, if he goes in with a Danny Garcia mode, 742 punches, it won't affect Errol Spence. He will just basically land the straighter shots, more accurate, and he will set Shawn Porter up with the jab finder and get off with his hooks. Get off with his hooks to the body and hooks to the top. So I think if going in with the game plan of throwing the more punchers, having more punches, it's not going to work to their advantage because he's not as accurate. I think for real, Shawn Porter needs. Well, Barry Hunter is there, and I actually did this in for Barry Hunter too. I went and looked at his punch totals for Spence Peterson, and what I noticed was Lamont Peterson total punches landed 36.7, which you round up is 37% against total punches against Errol Spence, and he landed power shots. He landed 46% of his power shots against Errol Spence, and I watched that fight too. Spence Peterson. If you ask me what happened in round 6 at 1:30, I probably can tell you what happened. But what I did notice was Lamont Peterson was having some success with lead hooks, and the reason I don't know why. I'll have to go back and look at it. Well, I kind of have a reason why. because, because he had to. There's no way in hell Lamont Peterson can stand behind the jab against a front foot dominant Errol Spence on that night. He had to come. He had to lead with power shots because Errol Spence just would have absorbed his left hand and stepped in to absorb his right hand and shorten it so it has no power. And he would have got inside and hook, 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 hook. Lamont Peterson fall backs, left hook, right hook, straight left, right hook. You know what I mean? And that's basically what he was doing all night. And I actually went back and watched that Lamont Peterson fight intently, very, 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 very intently. And I'm just gonna say this, and I saw it in the workout. I watched it Monday night. What today is Tuesday night. I watched it Sunday night. I apologize. Sunday night. I had the kids, and the kids went to bed, and I watched that fight, and I watched Errol Spence balance because I had just got off the phone with Phil Greco, and I wanted to go back and watch um, 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 Errol Spence fight. And I'm telling you, Errol Spence has the best base in the welterweight division. Um, he has I figured out what he has. He has the ability like no other fighter in the welterweight division. Terrence Crawford is on the other side of the street, so I can't do that. He has the ability to go from boxer to puncher, front foot to back foot as seamlessly as he wants to, with basically the same power, with basically the same level of skill. And I think that's something that his trainers, Derek James, and his trainer before Derek James have done an incredible job at instilling in him. Um, and I think he's going to be able to yin yang Shawn Porter. I think he's going to be able to clinch and turn Shawn Porter and beat him up with hooks. I think as soon as Shawn Porter goes in for the hook, he's going to hook him to the solar plex. He's going to touch him. He's going to brutally abuse Shawn Porter every time he goes in the clinch and try to use his like brute strength and brute power. But I genuinely believe something's going to happen in the second round to Shawn Porter that's going to make him believe that he's not the stronger fighter that night. Shawn Porter is going to have to use the entire ring. He's going to have to hope that, in my humble opinion, that Errol Spence IQ is in the locker room that night and he forgets how to cut the ring off. I told you guys a year and a half ago. I don't want to hear like Fred is doing some ass kicking. I'm making one video. I'll get back to talking about narratives, but I'm just talking pure numbers and pure what I've seen. I told you guys a year and a half ago. Feel free to check my video. Errol Spence has the best right foot in boxing. I will put his right foot, his lead foot, against anybody in boxing. Deontay Wilder has a great lead foot. He ain't going to get credit for it, but his lead foot is great. Gennady Golovkin said, you guys say he's slow, he's this, he's that. You watch Gennady Golovkin live, and you watch him just absorb and make his fighter get smaller and smaller and smaller. Even against, Vadis Marderosian, he just made him just disappear, like literally disappear. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that his right foot will play a huge role, and Shawn Porter will feel he will feel that pressure. So, but getting back to Shawn Porter's point, even against a flat-footed Danny Garcia, he wasn't accurate. Against a wide body, no special effects Ugas, he landed 28%. Against Danny Garcia, he landed 24%. So that leads me to believe that he cannot outpunch an Errol Spence. It's just impossible. It's not in his makeup. It's not in his. It's not in his training. It's not in his boxing DNA to say I'm going to land 40% of my punches. He can't do it. You understand what I'm saying? But what Errol Spence can do is land 50% of his power shots, and that's the difference in the fight. Shawn Porter, when he feels Errol Spence brute strength, he's gonna say, "Oh shit, I got to go to my double jab," and his corner will realize that at about round 2, they're gonna realize that they're not gonna be able to bully Errol Spence. Errol Spence, just like Shawn Porter, knows how to use forearms, knows how to get people off for him. Like I always say, the Chris Algieri fight, um, Earl Spence knows how to manipulate you. You understand? He changes. He knows how to change levels. Not He's not great at it. He stands up in the pocket a little bit too much more than you would like him. But because he's so sturdy, he can get away with standing up in the pocket because of his base, and he's more athletic. When you see him, I encourage, if Earl Spence invites you out to a private workout, I suggest that you go. Uh, and even if Shawn Porter invites you out, I suggest that you go so you can get a gauge of him. I have a greater understanding. I don't have a great understanding. I would say I've only seen him work out once. I have a greater understanding of who Earl Spence is as it relates to boxing, and I think that his sturdiness is a God-given gift. I think he would have been a great linebacker, or no linebacker. I probably would have been a hell of a running back. You know, was he 5'9"? Yeah, probably would have been a hell of a running back, a hell of a DB. And you could say the same thing about Shawn Porter. But Shawn Porter's training, hopefully Barry Hunter does a hell of a job, because it looks like he knew how to attack Lamont Peterson. He just didn't have the correct horse. And Shawn Porter is probably the best horse he can possibly have right now against an Earl Spence. And he landed 40. I'll put these in the picture so you guys can go back and look at them. But he landed 46% of his power punches with Lamont Peterson, and those were the left hooks. And I remember in that fight, Earl Spence was complaining that he was getting hit behind the head, and Earl Spence wasn't getting hit behind the head. It was just that he was just catching him by surprise, because typically he thought Lamont Peterson was going to lead with the jab, and it ended up being a left hook. It happens to everybody. Every fighter gets caught with the left hook when you think a jab is coming and it catches you. But Shawn Porter doesn't have the height. He doesn't have the reach to get off with that, because I think uh, uh, in my humble opinion, Earl Spence will be more disciplined for this fight. He may even let Shawn Porter get off. You understand what I'm saying? To invite him in. He may want him to throw a left hook so he can get off, because, oh man, I'm not gonna say it, but I'll show you if I can do a breakdown of this fight. You know what I'm gonna do, because I know how they're gonna fight. I literally know. I know how Shawn Porter is gonna fight in this fight, and I won't disclose it, but I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna drop it the day of the fight. The day of the fight, you guys remind me in the comment section to do this video. Send me DMs, send me videos. But I know how Shawn Porter is going to fight this fight. I'll drop it fight week. I'll do one video on each how I think. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I have an idea. And I think, anyways, man. But Shawn Porter, you better get accurate. Your accuracy is below average, because they say the average welterweight, Ugas, let's say the average, oh, they don't have it for you against that, but let's say for Danny Garcia Porter, they don't have it neither. But and against Lamont Peterson, the average total punches was, welterweight average is 30%, so you're below average as it relates to landing total punches. So you got to get your accuracy up, not your work rate. I think they're grossly confused. Hopefully Barry Hunter can be a huge asset to his camp. This is his second camp with the Porters, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see. But I just wanted to go inside the numbers and give you guys some insight, because his work rate, Shawn Porter's work rate with his fists won't help him against Earl Spence, because Earl Spence can just catch it. I'm serious. If I'm fighting a guy who I know ain't accurate, I'm just going to catch it. And a lot of times, I can fight you with one hand, because I can slip on one side and keep the other hand up, because I know you're not accurate. I know you can't throw straight. You understand? Like, for example, against Ugas, he didn't land a straight right hand to the end of the 11th round. Man, if I could use these clips, I could show you all this stuff I'm talking about. But, I don't want to get no copyright strike. So, but anyways, man, barbershop conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Shawn Porter, if you think your volume of punches will affect Earl Spence, you're sadly mistaken, because you don't have the accuracy. You got to get on the concentrated mitts. I don't know what role or how effective Barry Hunter is, but I think just based off of the numbers against a Lamont Peterson, I think that he is the quite possibly the only person that probably can help you as it relates to getting your accuracy down, because you got to take into account that I think your dad is great at probably getting you to the finish line, but in terms of the devil of the details, I think 28% and 24% ain't going to cut it against Errol Spence. It's going to be a short night for you if you think volume of punches is the answer. It's not that's not the answer. Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'll do videos on like how do you beat Mike Tyson? How do you beat Errol Spence? How do you beat Shawn Porter? I'll do videos on that shit. Barbershop Conversations. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Talk to you guys soon. Peace.